Find out what Armstrong School District is doing to challenge its gifted students. Education Today starts now.
Welcome to Education Today. I'm John Zish from the Armstrong School District. Today we're going to look at the great strides that are happening in Armstrong School District's Gifted Education program. Our guests today are three ardent supporters of gifted education: Dr. Judy Mossy, Sarah Ramey, and Shelby Steffi. Welcome all. Would you please tell us briefly about yourselves and your roles with gifted education, starting with Shelby?
I'm the gifted support teacher at West Hills Elementary and North Buffalo Elementary.
Dr. Mossy?
Yes, I've been in gifted education since the 70s as a gifted support teacher in the surrounding school districts as well as Armstrong School District, and more recently as a gifted facilitator K through 12 for the district. I've also served on many statewide committees and helped write the guidelines for gifted education, which is a supplement to Chapter 16, and it was published in February of 2004.
Oh, very nice. Mrs. Ramey, how about you?
I'm Sarah Ramey, and I'm an English teacher. I've been with the district since 1985, and I've also participated in gifted support since that time. And I've served on many district and building level committees.
Thank you. Seems like we have the right people here for the job today. Dr. Mossy, I'd like to start with you and just ask you, what constitutes a mentally gifted student?
Okay, a mentally gifted student is a gifted person who has an IQ of 130 and above, and providing that there are multiple criteria that also indicates gifted ability. Knowing that we cannot judge giftedness based on IQ alone, we also accept students below 130, providing that the other multiple criteria strongly indicates gifted ability.
And Mrs. Ramey, the Gifted Committee has been meeting periodically over the past year. Who's on this committee and what have they done?
It's been a really exciting time because we've had tremendous collegiality in this group. It's been a real community of learners because it's included all of the stakeholders, including the administration, the board members, our gifted support and regular education teachers, as well as our parents, our students, and even former students. So some of our students who have gone off to the university are even returning to still continue to serve on this committee because they feel that their input is valuable to us.
If you had to guess a ballpark figure, how many people are we talking about on this gifted committee?
I believe our entire committee numbers around 60 in total, so it's been a very active group.
Definitely. And their main job, I assume, would be just to sort of update gifted education, or how would you put it?
That's correct. So far, we've been able to actually write a philosophy of gifted education for the Armstrong School District, and that was our first task. We've written plans for appropriate program design and delivery options for gifted students. We've also looked at what constitutes appropriate acceleration and enrichment guidelines throughout the district. And those guidelines are actually in place and have been fully established. One of the things that we've also worked on is actually identifying the procedures that we use throughout the district to identify those students and to screen for those mentally gifted students. So it's been something that's useful to everyone.
Very nice. Well, Dr. Mossy, I understand that you're the district's K-12 gifted support facilitator, a new position that was added.
That's correct.
I was wondering if you'd please tell me a little bit about how this position has helped students.
Okay, gifted child is a mentally gifted person with an IQ of 130 and above, and when other multiple criteria indicates gifted ability. However, we know that we can't judge giftedness just based on the IQ score alone. So we will accept students or put students into the program with IQs less than 130, providing that the multiple criteria strongly indicates gifted ability. Armstrong School District has a screening and evaluation procedures in place, and if the child meets the screening criteria, then they will go on to the gifted multidisciplinary evaluation, which involves a evaluation from the school psychologist.
Okay. So it's a very rigorous screening just to make sure that the gifted ability is present
That's
before
right.
they enroll in the program.
That's correct.
Okay. Now, Mrs. Ramey, would you please tell me a little bit about this gifted committee and what it's doing?
Certainly. This has been a very exciting time because we've had a very collegial relationship, and we felt like a real community of learners in this group. It's consisted of not only our school administration, but also our board members, parents of our gifted students, regular education and gifted support teachers, as well as our current and former students. And this is something that we're very pleased about because some of our former students have gone on to the university, and yet they're still willing to return and take part in this activity with us. And we found their expertise very valuable, as with all of our stakeholders.
And what was the main goal of the gifted committee?
It's been numerous, actually. We have, in fact, written a gifted policy and a philosophy for gifted education for the Armstrong School District. We have written plans for appropriate design and delivery of instruction and various options for our gifted students, elementary through secondary. Goals have been prioritized by the core committee, and we're currently even working to complete the steps of the action plans. And we've looked very carefully at our guidelines for acceleration and for enrichment of our students' programs. Likewise, we also, as Dr. Massey pointed out, have a very thorough screening process for identification and screening for our mentally gifted students, and it's very clearly written for everyone's reference.
So the gifted committee is sort of setting the tone district-wide.
That's correct.
Okay.
It's been a very positive atmosphere, and we've had that tremendous sense of collegiality.
Sure. And I guess that would lead us next to the gifted support facilitator, which is a new position that Armstrong School District has added just this year. Dr. Massey, I was wondering if you'd please tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, as a gifted facilitator, I've also been able to serve on the gifted committee, but also have helped gifted support teachers get information concerning the current research in gifted education, the current trends. I've also helped in writing those screening procedures and evaluation procedures, and served on the GIEP teams and helping get data for potentially gifted students. I've also helped organize the district-wide events, the gifted newsletter for parents, as well as provide staff development opportunities for the professional staff.
You just mentioned staff development opportunities. What kind of opportunities have there been?
Well, new teachers to gifted education have received training in regulations, Pennsylvania state regulations in gifted education, also the district policy with gifted education, and I've helped them write GIEPs or helped them learn how to write GIEPs. They've also collaborated with each other and to compare programs among schools. I've worked with regular ed teachers, administrators, guidance counselors, and building secretaries in helping them to understand the screening and evaluation procedures. The elementary professional staff has also received information on characteristics of gifted students, as well as help in learning how to find the gifted student in their classroom. Dr. Damiani from Indiana University has also come in to talk to the secondary teachers about the social and emotional needs of gifted education, and also more things related to secondary gifted education.
Seems like an all-out effort.
Definitely, and I think we've made some great strides in professional development this year.
Well, now, you mentioned something about district-wide events. Maybe Mrs. Steffi can pick up here. What have been some of the district-wide events at the elementary level?
Well, we've so far conducted 2 events at the elementary level. The first one was a trip to Crooked Creek Environmental Center, and the second was to Sylvan Industries in Katanning, Pennsylvania.
Now, how many attended these field trips?
There were 55 students from the elementary gifted program that attended both field trips, and our numbers are growing every day, so the next field trip we project maybe 60 students.
Now, at the Environmental Learning Center, what did the students participate in?
The students participated in a wide variety of nature-based activities. This year we had a theme of Pennsylvania for all of our field trips and all of our different activities. They participated in a nature walk that day where they identified different plants and animals that they could find in nature. They also did a twig identification session, I guess, and then later on they participated in some trivia, which they had prepared for earlier.
Now, in addition to the Environmental Learning Center, there was a field trip to Sylvan Industries, is that what it's called, or Sylvan Research?
Sylvan Industries, yes.
What is that and what did they do there?
Sylvan Industries is located right here in Katanning, Pennsylvania. They create things to get ready for the mushroom mines and so forth. So it was basically industry-based, looking at jobs that could be potential for them in industry in Pennsylvania, right in their own area. What we did that day, they had created quite a few different experiments for the students to participate in. They created crystal gardens, pleurotus logs, which they could grow their own mushrooms. They also experimented with bacteria and DNA that day, and then they watched some demonstrations on liquid nitrogen and flame ionization.
Wow.
Yes.
Flame ionization, is that something to do with fireworks? Or?
Yes, yes. It was very interesting.
That's one heck of a field trip. In fact, we have some footage of that field trip, I believe, which we can take a look at now. Let's take a look at that. Wow, that was amazing. Mrs. Steffi, I was wondering if you'd please tell me, what were some of the objectives of these field trips?
The main objective for our gifted field trips was that the students would be able to participate in meaningful and challenging activities with their intellectual peers.
Now over to Mrs. Ramey. The secondary gifted students also participated in some district-wide activities. As a secondary teacher, you were probably involved in some of those.
I certainly was. I'd be glad to. During the fall semester, we had 2 district-wide events for our mentally gifted students. And as with all activities, we try to take student input into account, so we designed a survey and asked them what kinds of things they were interested in pursuing. So on December 15th, we met at Elderton High School, where again, like the elementary students, we took into account their need to meet with their intellectual peers, not only for socialization, but also for intellectual pursuit. So it was both a collaborative day as well as a competitive day in some respects. At this event, we actually did board games, trivia games, played some Sudoku, math activities, fraction rods, and did a lot with crossfire and debating, thanks to Dr. Mossie's participation with those students in teaching them some of the techniques of debate. So it was a very exciting first event in which we had about 60 students participate.
And then the mock trial, February 23rd at the Armstrong County Courthouse, of course.
This was a first, I think, in a long time in the Armstrong School District, where our students actually got to participate in an authentic location at the Armstrong County Courthouse, and in the main courtroom, actually.
It's impressive. Yeah.
It was, and it was exciting because the students were able to take an American history significant event, the Boston Massacre, and actually take the roles of the judge, the bailiff, the various defense and prosecuting attorneys, the defendants, the jurors, reporters, etc. And so they assumed those roles and then were able to really make the roles their own.
It sounds like a full cast.
It really was.
In fact, we have some footage from that. Why don't we take a look at the February 23rd mock trial at the Armstrong County Courthouse?
like to call Private Hugh White to the stand.
Please place your hand on the Bible. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
What happened on that evening, or the day of March 5th, 1770?
Well, I was on guard duty on King Street near Custom House, and a young lad came up and insulted one of my fellow officers. So I gave him a slight tap with my musket to teach the boy that you can't just go up insulting officers of authority. I mean, it was not a very hard tap, and I had no intent to severely injure him. Then, a large mob formed, yelling threats and throwing snowballs and rocks and stones at me. I called my main guard for help, and when an unruly mob formed, we formed a defensive formation, which is a semicircular, in front of the custom house. We were very terrified because we were way outnumbered by the mob. Then Captain Preston ordered that nobody should fire until his command. And then we heard a gunshot and we heard shouts of fire. And at that moment, I thought it was Captain Preston that shouted fire, so I fired my musket.
I would like to present Exhibit F. Was this the musket you were armed with?
Yes, it was.
Now, these muskets weigh approximately 10 pounds. How exactly does one give someone a light tap with a 10-pound musket?
Well, I didn't throw it at him like I was holding it, and I hit him that while still holding it, so the full 10 pounds wasn't thrown into the blow.
So, why did the young boy fall to the ground bleeding if you gave him a light tap with your musket?
Objection, Your Honor. Calls for a conclusion. Sustained counsel, please repeat.
So after you tapped him, the boy fell to the ground bleeding.
Yes.
That doesn't sound like a light tap to me. Sir, the prosecution asked you how it was possible to give someone a light tap with a musket.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know that you're a soldier, so you probably have some combat experience, so this would qualify you to answer this question. If you're in combat with someone and you have artillery there, if you put a lighter charge and a lighter force behind the ball, does it go less and have less force?
Yes.
If you put more charge and more powder behind the ball, does it not go further?
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, if you only put a little bit of power behind that 10-pound musket, it could be a tap, whereas if you put more power behind it, it could be actually hitting them severely.
Yes.
Thank you. No further questions.
Armstrong School District gifted students have really been learning a lot this year, interacting with one another, and I really appreciate all the work that you've done on these district-wide events. Now, Dr. Rossi, I'd like to turn it over to you just to talk a little bit about future plans of the gifted program to make sure these district-wide events continue.
Okay, to make sure that these district-wide events continue and to make sure also that we move in a positive direction with gifted education in Armstrong, we're going to continue with the core committee of administrators and teachers, and they'll be working on the steps that's outlined in the action plans, and those were approved by the larger gifted committee. Along with that, we're hoping to be able to try to solve some of the problems that we know exist as far as establishing consistency among the buildings in providing gifted options and opportunities for our gifted students. And that'll be one of our top priorities in the upcoming months. The elementary are going to continue working with their theme of Western Pennsylvania, and we're planning a trip in May at the Heinz History Center. And then with the secondary level, we're going to be hopefully pooling the students together. In fact, on the night that Dr. Damiani will be coming in for the parent-teacher workshop, we're planning on bringing in the secondary students to help design and plan future events for next year. And then with the 7th and 8th graders, we're hoping to do a quiz bowl before the end of the year, and we're in the process of planning that right now too. And we're going to continue with teacher and parent workshops, hopefully providing those in the evening so that a lot of people can attend, and the first of which is going to occur again on April 26th with Dr. Damiani coming in from the Indiana University of Pennsylvania.
That's right. That's at Ford City High School. And it certainly looks like the future is going to be bright for gifted education. We have time for one last question. Is there anything else any of you would like to add for the benefit of our viewers?
Well, I enjoy when my students return and talk to us after they've been away at college and like to share their information with us. And especially I'd like to thank our gifted students for coming back and for helping to validate the success that we're having with this program throughout the Armstrong School District, because they're oftentimes very, very relieved when they return from the university setting and very satisfied with the rigorous program they've encountered here.
Good to hear.
Yes, I would also like to say something. I think that it's important that we acknowledge the administrators, because as recently during this year as a gifted support facilitator, I've got to work closely with the administrators, and I think we have a group of administrators that really care about gifted students, and because of that, I know we're going to be moving in the positive direction, and the future does look bright for gifted students, definitely.
Indeed, we have a great team. Anything from you?
I would like to thank the parents of the gifted students as well. Those parents that serve on the gifted committee, as well as the parents across the district of gifted students. They've been a big help as far as planning the events and then making accommodations if they needed to be made.
Well, I appreciate that roundup, and that's our show for today. I'd like to thank Mrs. Steffi, Dr. Mossy, Ms. Ramey for being on the show. I'd also like to thank all the gifted teachers and parents and students in the district for pushing for academic excellence. Also, a big thanks to our film crew today. Today we had West Shamokin High School students led by their fearless leader, teacher Ren Steele. Way to go, guys. Please join us again next week for another look at the Armstrong School District. Visit our website for updated news and information about the district. Have a great week.
Hi, I'm Chad Davis from Ellerton High School, and this is what's happening around ASD. It's time once again for the annual Armstrong School District Art Show. There will be sculptures, paintings, and artwork from all 13 schools in the district. The dates are Thursday, May 18th, Friday, May 19th, and Saturday, May 20th. It will be at West Shamokin High School, just outside Rural Valley along Route 85. Projects on display are from students in kindergarten through 12th grade. The display is free and open to the public. For more information, please call West Shamokin at 724-783-7040. 56 high school juniors and seniors from Armstrong School District and Lenape Technical School got a look at what challenges and opportunities they'll face after high school at Armstrong School District's second annual Transition Day. Speakers and activities drove home the goal of Transition Day, which is to help teenage special needs students envision employment and community living possibilities after high school. The event was Tuesday, April 4th at Katang Senior High School. Well, that's all for now. I'm Chad Davis from Ellerton High School. Keep watching.
Hello, I'm Bill Kerr, Superintendent of Schools for the Armstrong School District. The theme for American Education Week, A Strong America Begins with Great Public Schools, continues throughout this school year. I see public education as a great investment, an investment in quality educational programs and services that continues to yield countless benefits to strengthen our schools and communities. We're proud that our students did a commendable job on the 2005 state math and reading assessments. Their work, along with those of their teachers, enabled all schools in the Armstrong School District to make adequate yearly progress under the federal No Child Left Behind Act. Congratulations to all involved. Also, we're grateful for the parents who remain committed to their children's education and are involved every day to help not only their own children, but are involved as parent volunteers in our schools. Thank you for your commitment to improve education. I value the partnership with our parents, teachers, administrators, support staff, school board members, and citizens. By working together for progress, we can collectively lead the Armstrong School District to the next level of achievement in the coming years. Thank you very much.